Welcome to today's Explainer. Look, I want you to treat our time together right now as a one-on-one coaching session. Because if you're navigating that truly jarring, painful reality of a sudden breakup, or maybe you're just racking your brain trying to figure out why your partner suddenly pulled away, you are absolutely in the right place. Today, we're unpacking the core mechanics of vanishing attraction. We are going to look really closely at the subtle warning signs that almost everyone misses and decode what's actually happening beneath the surface when a relationship seems to just fall apart without warning. So let's just get right into it. There is this incredibly stark contrast that literally captures the exact pain point so many guys experience. First, you have the before, right? This is the honeymoon phase. One day she was texting you first, she's laughing at your jokes, she seems genuinely thrilled just to see you. Everything feels absolutely great. And then we hit the after. The replies become incredibly short, the enthusiasm just vanishes into thin air, the physical affection completely fades. It is so jarring to experience this shift. Honestly, it truly feels like she just woke up one morning and randomly decided she wasn't interested anymore. But as a coach, I really need to deliver a major paradigm shift for you right now. Let this truth really sink in. She didn't lose interest overnight. You simply noticed it overnight. I know, that is a really hard truth to swallow, but it is absolutely necessary if you want to understand what actually happened. You see, the loss of attraction is rarely some sudden catastrophic event. Instead, it's been building quietly. It's this slow accumulation of missed signs and silent frustrations that have been compounding for weeks or, honestly, sometimes even months. Most men just simply never see these early cues until the damage is already done. And a big reason for that is because so many guys operate under a massive myth. They assume attraction is kind of like a light switch. You flip it on, and it just stays on forever, unless some massive, explosive argument flips it off. The thinking goes, either she's interested or she's not. But the reality? Attraction is a fire. It's a living, breathing thing. It can grow, it can weaken, and it can slowly burn out if it isn't actively maintained. When you see an overnight change, what you are really seeing is just the final smoldering ember quietly going out after a very long period of not being fueled. So why exactly does that fire fade? Well, the first major reason is allowing emotional disconnection to set in. This happens when conversations turn into shallow routines, you know the drill. Casually asking, how was your day, while you're endlessly scrolling on your phone. You're just exchanging schedules instead of exchanging actual feelings, and she slowly starts to feel unheard or misunderstood. And here is exactly why these early cues go completely ignored by so many men. The relationship still looks totally normal on the surface. There are no big fights, you still live together, you still eat dinner together, so guys just assume everything is fine. They completely miss that the emotional foundation is quietly crumbling beneath their feet. By the time you notice something is off, she already feels a million miles away. Which brings us to another massive pitfall, mistaking stability for stagnation. Now, stability is a wonderful thing. In the beginning, you're learning about each other, the dynamic is fresh, it's exciting. But over time, if you aren't careful, stability can literally rot into stagnation. A lot of guys make the mistake of just stopping. They stop pursuing their own goals, they stop challenging themselves, and they just get incredibly comfortable and complacent. The danger of becoming too predictable is that attraction actually thrives on growth, purpose, and momentum. Women are naturally drawn to partners who continue evolving, not someone who has cruise control the absolute second the relationship gets serious. And that stagnation, it directly feeds into a devastating loss of respect and appreciation. Think about the sheer energy it took to win her over in the beginning. Too often, men stop doing the very things that worked. Common mistakes start popping up everywhere. The random thinking of you texts disappear, and you start treating her way more like a roommate than a romantic partner. The genuine compliments fade away, and appreciation just becomes assumed rather than openly expressed. Everyone needs to feel valued. And worse, when that stagnation includes constantly breaking your promises, avoiding responsibility, or just lacking general direction in life, respect disappears. Look, love can survive a lot of hard times, but attraction struggles to survive without respect. Those are fatal blows to a romantic connection. Now, before that respect entirely evaporates, there are almost always signals. You might hear things like, we don't talk anymore, or you never listen, or maybe we need to spend more time together. Sound familiar? Women often communicate their dissatisfaction long before they emotionally check out. But the truly tragic part is how these phrases are received. Many men hear these statements as nagging complaints, But as a coach, I am telling you right now, they are not complaints. They are desperate requests for emotional reconnection. They are essentially a flare gun going off, signaling that the fire is dying.
But here is the absolute most crucial, most dangerous point. Silence is often far more dangerous than those complaints. If her requests for connection go unanswered repeatedly, she will eventually just stop asking. As a guy, you might think, oh great, she finally stopped nagging me. Things are peaceful again. No, actually scratch that, it's the exact opposite of peace. That silence doesn't mean the problem is magically solved. It means she is giving up. It means the fire is almost entirely burned out and she is mentally and emotionally preparing her exit.
All of this really points back to one glaring issue: the profound danger of taking her for granted. Nothing kills attraction faster than feeling invisible. Think back to the start of the relationship. Every single message mattered, right? Every date was carefully planned. Every conversation had weight. But over time, if you begin treating her presence as guaranteed, you make her feel like an option rather than a priority. And you can't just buy a bouquet of expensive flowers and expect it to fix a month of ignoring her. Nobody wants to feel like a backup plan after they once felt like your whole world. Attraction inevitably shrinks in the dark corners where neglect takes over.
Now, I want to take a quick pause here and just soften the self-blame for a second because this is an incredibly important piece of the puzzle. Sometimes, the reason is simply that she changed. Look, not every single loss of attraction is caused by some terrible mistake you made. People grow, priorities shift, life circumstances constantly evolve. What attracted her to you a year ago or 5 years ago might simply not be what she values today. Sometimes two people just naturally grow in completely different directions. Understanding this reality is vital so you don't carry the weight of unnecessary guilt. Sometimes, identifying that your own personal growth matters way more than trying to force the relationship to stay exactly the same is the healthiest realization you can possibly have. Okay, so for the times when it is about the dynamic, think of these subtle behavioral shifts as your ultimate diagnostic checklist. These are the cues that precede a total loss of attraction. She initiates contact less often. Conversations start to feel incredibly forced. Her baseline excitement just decreases. She gets emotionally distant. Notice those last 2 points especially. She stops sharing the little details of her day, and she stops being curious about yours. Listen, when curiosity dies, connection dies. These signs don't always mean it's 100% over, but they are screaming at you that the relationship desperately needs attention. So, how do you actually respond? Let's firmly shift gears to the solution phase here. Let's start with what absolutely does not work: begging, desperation, sending endless, massive paragraphs of apologies. You cannot logic someone back into being attracted to you. And honestly, desperation is fundamentally repulsive. What actually works is personal growth. It's about shifting your focus inward to create a healthier foundation for yourself. You rebuild attraction through strength and self-respect, not through pleading. So here are your actionable steps to really rebuild that emotional connection and mutual respect. First, pursue that personal growth. Get your own momentum and purpose back. Second, cultivate better communication. If you need to open a deeper conversation, try using one of these 3 role-play scripts. Script 1, you could say, I've noticed we've been really disconnected lately and I want to fix my side of that. Simple, right? Or script 2, I want to truly understand your perspective on where we are right now and I promise to listen without getting defensive. Or even script 3, what is one specific way I can support you better this week? These scripts invite real connection rather than starting arguments. Third, show consistent effort. Not just a grand gesture for one weekend, but steady, reliable effort. And finally, restore trust by keeping your promises and taking responsibility. Remember, the true goal here isn't just to trick someone into changing your relationship status back. The real goal is to become the absolute best version of yourself. Which brings us to our final takeaway for today. The men who truly understand how attraction works, they don't wait until it completely disappears. They pay close attention to the connection. They keep growing, they keep appreciating their partner, and they keep showing up for the small things every single day. Because attraction is not a prize you win once and just put on a dusty shelf. It has to be continuously nurtured. So I want to leave you with this question to really reflect on. In your own relationships, are you actively nurturing the fire, or are you just sitting back, getting comfortable, and watching it burn out?